Hello my crafty friends, it's Beverly here over at Crafting Chaos with another in the Valentines card series, just one I thought was a little bit quirky and a little bit fun. And it's something I'd seen, I can't remember if I've seen it on Pinterest or something similar. And it's not quite exactly the same, but it's similar to what I've seen. And obviously once you've got it, I've got it I think at about an 8x8, something like that, that shape is at. But you could, once you've got it done, you can always select everything and group it and then resize it to any size you wish. So if you wanted to take it to fit on a 6x6 card, you could do that. Right, so that's what I'm aiming for. So I'm going to use the downloaded version of Canvas and I'm working on a MacBook. So hopefully this will be helpful for you. Now the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm just going to move that over there for reference so you can see where we're headed. Now if you look now that it's over here, these are actually holes in the spectacles, and I'm thinking that if you raise them up and put, like say, acetate or something in for the lenses, and I'm thinking more googly eyes rather than actually cutting the eyes for the actual eyes looking at you, if you will. I think that'd be quite quirky. So that's what I'm aiming for. So now I'm just going to make this, hopefully, so that you can see what I'm actually going on. Now I know when I do this bit, the file, edit, layer, display, window, so file, edit, layer, display, window and help. That strap doesn't always show on the videos, and it doesn't matter what setting I have it on, it just seems to be that way. So what I'll do is make sure that it's really clear which menu I'm looking at if we need to use any of the menus. So the first thing I did is I went on to open clip art, which is free to download, okay, and use. So open clip art, and I found by typing in eyeglasses this one. There were others, but I thought this one looked like it'd be alright to trace. And then I clicked a medium image to download, and then hit this red button to download it. Now I'm not going to download it again because I've already got it on my machine and I don't want it twice. But I just wanted you to see where I'd actually got the clip art from so you'd know where to go. So what I'm going to do now is get rid of this. So I'm just going to close down my Safari for now, and I'm going to be going on to my Canvas workspace. Now I'm going to start off by bringing on the spectacles. So I'm going to go onto this tracing icon because it's a PNG file that I've actually downloaded from that open clip art. I'm going to bring that onto the computer. Now this is the first time since I've downloaded this that I've actually used the downloadable version to actually trace something. Now if I look at downloads, and I just want to go through this with you, seeing if I can show you what I mean, because when I open, that's the file that I downloaded, geek3316595.png, but when I open it, for some reason it brought it up completely black, like so, and I've no idea why. So what I did was, I'm just going to cancel that, is I brought in the, I opened the picture, sorry, let me just go back to the internet, see if I've still got it open. So just go back to Safari, and where's the open clip art? So this is the one, and all I did is, because I was having a problem with getting it to recognise it as a file, it just kept coming in black, is I just did a screen capture by doing Control, Command and 4, just drew around the bit that I wanted, and that puts that image on my desktop. So I'm just showing you that one in case it does that with you, so then you'll know a workaround, if you will. So now when I go into trace, I actually need to go now to my desktop where I've got my screenshot that I've just done, and I'm going to open it, and that brings in the glasses. Now you'll get it like this straight away. There's none of that sort of previewing thing like you have on the internet version. But it took me a while just to work out. I thought, where's this option? I don't want just the outer edge. I actually want to go around this inside and these small bits too. When you actually click on that, it's fairly obvious now that you know. you can either click on trace outer edge or trace areas by colour. Now when you do it by colour, it's automatically then selected the parts that I want. So I'm going to say OK, and that will bring the glasses on to my page. Now, oops. So I'm just going to do that again. So bring it on, bring on the thing that you're going to trace. It'll bring up that box, click on that one and trace areas by colour, say OK. And that's where we're looking now. So I'm just going to click on the layers to see where we're up to, and I'm going to ungroup so that now we've got the layers. So those are the two parts that I would save for the lenses. And if we work on this now, we've got, that's the lens that we've got with the pieces out. So that's just, if we flood fill that with colour, that should just be the actual lenses themselves. So we can, sorry, the glasses themselves, the frames. So I'm going to make them that shape. And then what I'm going to do next is I just want, if you will, I'm just going to select all of that, and I'm just going to process the overlap in edit and weld. Okay, so I'm going to drag a box around those, and hopefully, not quite sure why that's not wanting to move. So let's go back onto layers and see what's happening with that one. So this is what we've got highlighted. It's the two little areas there. For some reason, I'm not quite sure what that is, but I'm just going to delete that. And I think it's what actually it's done is brought us on a picture of what we had, and we don't necessarily want that. So I'm going to make a duplicate of the red glasses, like so, and I'm going to move those to the side. Okay. Next, I'm going to bring on a square. So I'm just going to take my two spectacles to the side, like so, and I'm going to bring on a square. So I'm just going to bring on a square, and I'm going to resize it roughly, just so that when we bring on the spectacles and we put them in position, they look roughly the right size for the actual square. And I've just selected the spectacles and the square, and I'm going to go in edit, and I'm going to line up to the centre. Now I do want them to be higher up than the middle, so I'm happy with them there. And while everything's selected, sorry, I'm just going to click off and make sure that the square is at the front, and it's at the back, sorry, and it's not. So I need to just make sure that we arrange and send that square to the back. So now when we click on the glasses, we can see that we've got, oh dear, I've just moved it. So now when we click on the glasses, you can see that, just move that away from the black ones because it won't let me for some reason delete them. I wonder if it'll let me hide them in the layers. So unlock, and then it'll let me delete them. There we are, that's how you did it. So if I just go back a step, if you come across that and you've got the image that it's actually pasting, it asked you on the online version, did you want the image placing on the desktop with the file? And you could say yes or no to it. If you go on your layers, which is this icon here, you can see that that one's an image, not a shape, so that's come straight from the trace. I'm going to unlock it so that I can actually work with it, select it, and then I'm going to delete it. So that's got rid of that for us. Okay, so I'm just going to select both of these again just to check that that one still hasn't moved and it is central to the card. And check by clicking on that they're on top, select both, and I'm going to subtract. Now what we should find is, if we now break this apart, divide, we can now remove these bits, which I'm just pulling out now, like so. So I'm just removing those because I don't need them, and I'm going to delete them. And what I've effectively done now is punched a hole in that card base, if you will. So now that's a hole. So I'll just make it blue so you can see. So now what I would do is bring on those glasses and cut them separately. I need to bring them up a layer, so you can either do it by right clicking and arrange and bring to the front, or you could have done it by scooting that layer that's now highlighted in your layers. If that was down there, that's sending it to the, sorry, edit undo, I've just sent it too far. I could send it back to there and that would send it to the bottom, and yeah, or I could bring it back to the top, or I can place it anywhere in between. So the layers is quite useful. So then they'll fit perfectly inside that aperture that you've just made for the glasses, like so. So now we're getting somewhere. So these bits, I would probably make them slightly bigger. So what I would do is select both and group them. So I'm going to right click and group, and then we're going to create an offset, and we want a slightly outward offset but not by quite so much. So I'm going to go for 0.12, 0.12, say OK, and that's give us an offset of each. So it's just proportionally bigger than the first one. I'm going to leave the other ones there as well. So what that will allow us to do behind is actually cut those in some acetate and use them to fit behind as like proper see-through lenses. So I'm just going to leave those there, and we could attach those on using our good glue. So I would tend to use the Pinflair bookbinding glue, and if I look carefully, it looks like that's just about right. If it's a little bit too big, what we can do, if we selected them again, create the offset again and just make it slightly smaller, say OK, and then you know for sure it's definitely going to fit, because it looked like it was fairly close to being a little bit too big, but that's perfect now, and you can see that that actually does fit there behind the glasses. So again, I'm going to keep the original size one and the ones I made slightly bigger so that you have options. What I'm going to do next is I made a little embellishment, which is the heart. So that was just basically bringing on a heart shape. So I just went down to the heart, selected it, and then I always like to click the button here just to send it out the way, because it does tend to get on your nerves a little bit if it's on the top and you haven't got this sort of area over here to play with when you're working. So I'm just going to make that heart red, and if you wanted, you could quite easily, if you do an offset, so you could click on that and create an offset again. You could make it inward this time, make it 0.12, say OK, and if you wanted then you could select both, punch one, but before I do that I'm just going to make a duplicate of the original by Command and D, which is the shortcut that I made, and then you can select both, go on process the overlap and subtract, and that'll punch a hole out. So you've got the option of having an open heart and a full heart, or you could have both, and then maybe if you wish, sorry I moved that, I didn't want to move that, I was really intending to just rotate these two, just so that it gives it a little bit of interest. You could actually put them together, you could weld them together or whatever, but that's just possibilities. It's entirely up to you what you use as embellishments. It's your card. So I'm just going to make that one a bit smaller. Incidentally, if you did duplicates of that and rotated it, you could actually, if you wish, weld the two together. So where they're overlapping, select both and weld. And now, because that is, if I just zoom in on that part, you'll see what's happened. It's actually welded the two hearts together because we'd already made them into a frame. So I'll leave that on as an embellishment as well, just for people that are interested. So when you've got this and you're zoomed in, you can just go display, zoom all objects on that, and that puts everything so you can see it. And then I'm just going to increase a little bit so that we can see what we're doing. So we're almost there now, and we've just got, I'm just going to move everything down a bit to make way for my text, and this is so much simpler on the downloadable version. And I think I used the Bird of Paradise for personal use, and I put I only have eyes, and then I did it in 2 parts, and then I went on to this brush icon, which is the properties, and made it a drawing file, and then I'm going to fill it with colour, so I'm going to fill it with black. I only have eyes, and then I went back into it and put for you. Like so. I clicked off again, made it a drawing file over here in properties, and also again a fill. So then all I did was move that down onto that card top, if you will. So I'm just going to move that heart out of the way, position it where I think it looks okay, and that's entirely your choice, and then move the for you down like so. Then all I did, just for the purpose of the video, was create a couple of eyes that you could cut if you didn't want to go down the googly eye route. So I just brought a circle on and shrunk it down to make it an eye sort of size. I did Command and D and duplicated that and shrunk that even smaller, and then I turned that one, the bigger one, to white, and the smaller one here I chose black, and then I put the black one in the white one, and then you can select both and duplicate, and then you've got your eyes for both in there and also in there. But like I said, it's my intention to use googly eyes. So now what you could do, because remember all these will be the right size for this file, so I'm just dragging everything onto the centre initially like so, just to allow us to resize this card. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select everything, I'm going to group it temporarily, and I'm going to resize it to 5.5 by 5.5, like so. And I'm just going to click that off, and I'm going to make it definitely 5.5, so they're both the same height and width. Okay, so I'm going to close my palette for my colours. So I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to ungroup, and then I'm going to move my other parts off, because this is the top layer of the card, if you will. So there's my larger spectacle lenses and my smaller ones that fit the size. These are the different embellishments that we've made. This is the card, and you can position the font or the writing where you wish. And if you wanted to make your own card blank, you would then bring on a card that is 5 inches in height and 11 inches in. I'm just going to move it up a little bit so that I can bring everything down, so that we can get it out the way so I can work on it. So I'm just going to bring everything down like so. Bring the card base down, which that front now will fit on perfectly. And then I'm going to add a score line. So I'm going to create a path. So I'm going to hold my shift key down and drag a straight line to the other side, and double click to anchor, and then I'm going to, if you can't see it, I'm going to click on it so that I know that's selected, and then I'm going to go on properties, make it cut file, which it is, and perforating on there. I'm then going to select both of those, the rectangle card and the line, and I'm going to go on properties, and I'm going to line it up in the centre. So that's now put that exactly in the middle, and then we can right click and group. So this has made things so much easier, having this layer as being able to just select things. So that's going to fit, should fit on there. Actually, what size is this? 5.5, and I've done it 5, hasn't I? So I just actually need to make that 5.5 inches tall. So we'll just stretch that out to 5.5 inches tall, and then that's going to fit on to there like so. So what you could do if you wanted is just size everything down just a little bit. If you wanted to have a slight white border around, it's entirely up to you. So this is today's Valentine's card, today's effort if you will. If you want to have a go at it, feel free. I'm just going to move that down and I'm going to ungroup these now, and then I'm just going to make sure all my parts are on the mat so that when I go to save the project everything is on. So I would then go on File and export to FCM. That will save it instead of doing Save As, which saves it as that other Canvas workspace project file. If you export to FCM, it saves it straight away as an FCM. So this is Valentine's 3 because this is the third offering for my Valentine series, and I'm going to put it in my FCM folder. So I just need to work my way around to that, and because I've been busy doing other things, it's just moved a little bit. So it's in Documents, and then I want FCM, and then I'm going to save that as Valentine's 2. And that would be it. Won't save it in here, but when you go to your actual folder where you've saved them, you'll see that in your FCM file or wherever you've put it, it will be in there somewhere. That's not my, that's the one online. I need the one that's actually on the machine. So if I just double click and make sure that it has saved, but it will have. But if you feel like before you do anything else you want to double check, it's always a good idea. So there we are. Valentine's card. Oh, has it saved it? Because I can't see it on there neither. Let's just try it once more. File, export FCM, Valentine's. I did not give it the number. I thought I had, but I didn't. Valentine's 3. Save. We'll just double check that it's now there. We're going to go back a layer. And Valentine's 3 is now there. So that can be just dragged onto a USB if you wish, or if you've got the facility, you can go export file to transfer FCM file via the internet, and that sends it directly to your machine. Okay, so the registered machine is ready to download the transferred file from the internet, and all that means is it's just sent the file that we've been working on over to the Scan and Cut, ready for cutting. So that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. It is a little bit different, this Canvas Workspace downloadable version, and some of the things are really intuitive and some of them, like, I think could have been a little bit more obvious, but we're getting there. I'm learning still as well, but hopefully you're learning too. Alright, thanks for watching. I hope you'll pop along to my blog where the file will be available free to download. Please don't sell the file, but feel free to make as many projects as you wish. I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the video and if it's helped you. And until next time, I'll see you soon. Bye.